My wife left me for another man, then came back begging. I know exactly when the word soulmate stopped sounding romantic to me. It was a Tuesday in May. My wife came home, dropped her keys, looked at me like I was a stranger, and said, "I think I found my soulmate." For a second, I thought she meant a new podcast. Then she said it was her yoga teacher. That's when my life broke into two parts, before and after. We had been together since 2017 and got married in 2019. We had a small wedding at a park. We weren't dramatic people. I run a small computer business that helps dentist offices. She designs websites and makes them look pretty. The only big thing we did was sign a prenup before getting married. My parents made us do it because of my business. They said it's not personal, but it felt personal. We hired lawyers, signed papers 3 weeks before the wedding. We even joked about it back then. The first sign something was wrong wasn't lipstick or perfume. It was her Google Calendar. She started blocking out yoga time in bright yellow. Long blocks that took over dinner time and whole evenings. She would come home excited about breathing exercises and her teacher. She called him Camden, not his real name, but that's what I'll call him. When I asked if he was single, she said, "It's not like that." I hadn't even asked that question. Then I started finding receipts. On March 18th, my banking app showed a new charge. Solstice Retreats, $150. When I asked about it, she said, "Oh, that's just the deposit." Just a deposit. A week later, she asked me to check an email for her work. I scrolled down too far and saw another email thread below it. The preview said, "Can't wait to wake up next to you where it's warm." I didn't open it, not yet. I also found a document on our shared computer. Apartment lease transfer request. With her name on it and a blank space for someone new to take over. I closed the laptop and just sat there until my drink got warm. When she told me about her soulmate, she stood like she was ready for a fight. "I don't want to argue," she said. "I just want to be where I belong." Then she said, "I hope you'll be nice about this so we can both move on." The word nice was doing a lot of work in that sentence. I took a deep breath and said, "Okay, let's do this the right way." The next morning, I called my lawyer from when we got married. She remembered me because I made a bad joke about office supplies. She told me what to do. Keep all messages in writing. Don't meet alone. And let's look at what you both signed before you promise anything. She sent me our prenup with the important parts highlighted. That night, while my wife packed a bag, first it was a few days to think. Then, I should be honest, I'm staying with him. I read our prenup. It said things like, each person keeps what they owned before marriage and what they buy during marriage. No one has to pay the other person money after divorce. If someone breaks the rules, they pay the lawyer costs. There were our signatures from years ago when we thought we'd never need this paper. I slept on the couch. In the morning, I made coffee and left her a note. "I'll keep the apartment and pay the transfer fees. You keep the car and your work equipment. Let's follow what we signed." She read it and said, "You're really going to use that paper against me?" For 2 weeks. We did that awkward dance people do when a marriage is ending. But you still share a coffee maker. She moved in with Camden in a different neighborhood with nice trees. I changed our Netflix password and fixed the electric bill. I didn't look at her Instagram even when a friend texted, "Are you seeing this?" and sent me a picture of 2 yoga mats on a balcony at sunset with the caption, "Choosing Peace." The mats were the same color as ours used to be. I started sleeping better. Then came the first real problem. On a Saturday morning in June, I got 3 texts from a number I knew. "Hey, we should talk about money." I think we both know 50-50 is fair. That's what people usually do. I stared at my phone like it was on fire. I sent the messages to my lawyer, then replied, "Please look at our prenup." "I'm working with my lawyer." She texted back, "You're really doing this?" Then, "Camden says any good person would make sure I'm okay." I put my phone down and washed dishes by hand even though the dishwasher was empty. Here's something I didn't understand then. Our prenup had a time limit. If we got divorced before 5 years of marriage, the normal state laws about splitting money wouldn't apply. We were getting close to 5 years in July. We didn't plan for our marriage to end right before this deadline. Life just worked out that way. The second crash happened when she sent me a screenshot by mistake. I could see she was texting someone named Ashley. There were sparkle emojis by the name. The message said, "He says there's no money for me. No support payments. Everything is separate property. Camden thinks he's lying." She called me 20 minutes later. "That wasn't for you," she said, like I could pretend I didn't see it. I didn't say anything. Then I sent her our prenup PDF with my lawyer's email. The subject line was "for your information." It felt good to be clear about the rules. The turning point came on a stormy Wednesday night. She called. I let it go to voicemail. Her message started normal, "We need to talk," then got shaky. He doesn't want to deal with legal problems. He didn't know about all these contracts. He says he can't start a life with a lawsuit hanging over us. Can I come over?" Her voice broke at the end. The next day, she sent me a business-like email asking to talk about getting back together. I read it twice to make sure I understood. I didn't answer. My lawyer did 20 minutes later. The email said all communication had to go through lawyers now, that we'd schedule a time for her to get her things with someone else there to watch, and that any other contact would be harassment. My lawyer told me privately, "This is to protect you, not punish her." That should have been the quiet part. It wasn't. A week later, she showed up at my building while I was taking out trash. She stood in the rain without an umbrella, hair stuck to her face. "Please," she said, "just 5 minutes." The building manager was nearby, pretending not to watch. She moved closer, her lips shaking. "He left," she said. "He said he can't take care of me if there's no money coming." He actually said that. She laughed, but it sounded broken. "I'm so stupid." I felt sorry for her and protected at the same time. "We can't do this here," I said as gently as I could. "You have my lawyer's email." She tried to touch my arm like we were in a movie. I stepped back. It felt unfair that I needed a reason beyond "I don't want to get hurt again." She wiped her face and said I'd regret being cold to her. The elevator opened and a neighbor came out with a baby stroller. Life doesn't stop for anyone's drama. After that, everything became paperwork. Her lawyer apologized for the building, seen and asked when she could get her stuff. We set a date, a Saturday, with a moving company and one of her friends there to watch. I drove around town during that time and listened to a book about mountain climbing because it was about putting one foot in front of the other, not about falling in love with your teacher. When I came back, my apartment looked empty. Her side of the couch looked flat. The nice candles were gone. The fridge had only my food. The apartment transfer went through on June 28th. I got a confirmation, email, and paid a small fee. It felt good to pay something small and be done. The car title came back in her name only. My bank statement stopped showing her purchases. That 1,750 Solstice Retreats charge became just old data. She sent me 2 more texts after the no contact order. I didn't reply to either. The first said, "I made a mistake." The second said, "You used to be a kind person." I took screenshots and put them in my email folder, labeled Case 24-DR-118, with the prenup, transfer papers, and legal notices. It looked like a simple file folder. Really, it was proof that I learned how to be kind to myself. You might wonder if I had someone else waiting. I didn't, but life gets easier when you make space for it. In August, a friend introduced me to someone at a barbecue party. She laughed like she believed good things could happen. We got coffee, then tacos, then spent quiet time together. I told her I was recently hurt. She nodded like she understood without me explaining everything. I didn't make big promises. I did buy a new yoga mat, not to make a point, but because my old one belonged to both of us. I picked gray. It looks calm. The divorce hearing 3 months later took 15 minutes. The judge asked our names and what we wanted. He asked if we agreed to this voluntarily. He asked if we understood what we signed years ago when we promised to spend our lives together. My lawyer answered when I couldn't speak right away. Her lawyer didn't fight the prenup. They said it was legally valid and no one was forced to sign. We raised our hands and swore oaths, and then we weren't married anymore. After court, I went home and opened my case folder one last time. All the prenup sections, legal notices, and screenshots organized by date. I thought about deleting the whole folder. I didn't, not because I was angry. More like keeping a medical cast after your bone heals, until the pain becomes a story you can tell without hurting. Some people might think I planned this prenup like a trap. I didn't. It was like a seatbelt. We put it on when everything looked safe because someone told us accidents happen. Yes, it's darkly funny that the man who called himself her soulmate needed money I wasn't going to give him. She didn't leave for love exactly. She left for a feeling she thought would pay better. When it didn't, she tried to come back to the place where being generous was the normal thing. What I told myself every night was simple. You can't negotiate loyalty after someone breaks it. You don't find it on page 12 of a legal document. You either protect the person you chose, or you don't. When someone shows you who they are, nicely, with social media posts and expensive retreats, believe them. People who really care about you don't ask you to be a good person only when it helps them. They try to be good before any paperwork makes them. The last text I ever sent her went through my lawyer. According to the prenup and final divorce papers, here's confirmation of the apartment transfer and car title. All future messages should go through lawyers. I wish I could say I added something poetic about soulmates and bills. I didn't. The real ending wasn't in words anyway. It was in the quiet that came back to my apartment. In being able to make dinner without wondering whose phone would buzz on the counter and why. If you're living through something like this, here's what helps. Write down what you'll do when you're most hurt, but write it when you're still calm. Put it somewhere safe. Ask a professional what protection looks like in your state. Keep your receipts, not to win arguments, but to protect the life you built when you weren't arguing. When someone comes back crying after choosing a different home, remember that kindness includes saying no. Sometimes the kindest thing you can tell yourself is, I already moved on. Months later, I ran into the building manager in the parking lot. He asked how I was doing in that voice people use for funerals and new babies. I said, better than I thought I'd be. He nodded and mentioned they'd fixed some building problems that had been going on for a while. Takes time, he said, but things get worked out. We both looked up at the clear sky. I went upstairs and rolled out my new mat and sat in the middle of a life that didn't shake when I stepped into it. The prenup didn't save me from heartbreak, but it saved me from having to bargain with it. The soulmate? I hope he found whatever he thought I owed him. I hope she finds someone who wants her without needing a payoff. As for me, I'm learning the slow language of being steady. It's quiet. It's good. It's mine.